I'm going to ask you about how the president talks about inflation. So 2 times over the past 2 weeks, the president said inflation was 9% when he came into office. Is the president misleading Americans on that, or does he just not realize that inflation was 1.4%?
So, and thank you for the question, because I know that we got a lot of incoming on this yesterday. And look, what the president the point that he was making is that the factors that caused inflation was in place when he walked into the administration, when he took office. As you know, the pandemic caused inflation around the world to be by disrupting our economy and breaking our supply chains. As you know, we had to act quickly on dealing with the supply chain. He put together a task force. You saw the president do that.
That was White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre trying to explain why President Joe Biden keeps claiming that inflation was 9% when he came to office, when the fact is it was 1.4%. Here is Joe Biden just last week making the claim during his interview with CNN.
No president's had the run we've had in terms of creating jobs and bringing down inflation. It was 9% when I came to office. 9%. But look, people have a right to be concerned. Ordinary people, the idea that you bounce a check and you get a $30 fee for bouncing the check, I change that.
The New York Post has published this piece today, which says inflation rates show Biden is gaslighting Americans on the economy, because the American people are the ones experiencing this cost of living crisis every day. The cost of buying a home in the US is double what it was before the pandemic, and real wages are down due to inflation. Well, the president will have the chance to debate these issues with the man who is currently leading in the polls, former President Donald Trump. The debates will be held in June and September, which Nigel Farage says is perfect timing for both candidates.
So, Trump versus Biden, not one but 2 debates. Trump is saying there should be a third involving Fox News. Now, I think there's a lot of reasons why both of them need to be there, but what do you think about the prospect of the clash?
Well, look, last time round we had the first debate much later on. Within 2 days, Trump was diagnosed with COVID. He wasn't on his game. By the time of the second debate, and this is crucial, by the time of the second debate, when Trump trounced Biden, and everyone agreed on that, by then 100 million Americans had already voted. So the value of the big head-to-head debate, this centerpiece of American elections ever since Nixon debated Kennedy over 60 years ago, the effect was diminished. So the timetable, June, September, is perfect. It actually gives both candidates a chance to get their message out before these ridiculous tens of millions of mail-out ballots still happen. The terms are very much on Biden's terms. I mean, it's going to be CNN invigilating. Trump's microphone will be turned off when Biden's talking. And the worst part of it, of course, is no live audience. And that's a shame, because I think, good programmers can get a neutral audience in a studio, and how they react and respond is rather important. So it's kind of a watered-down debate, but it is happening at the right time. I do think a third one later on would be a good idea. But look, from my friend Donald's perspective, this is better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the reason Biden is going anywhere near this, or trying to create what he has been able to create about the context of the debate, is he's losing. Currently on the polls, he is losing. And he is losing in enough of the significant areas. And the story of him losing is rolling and gathering more and more momentum. So I think it's legitimately an attempt to change the subject, and also to create a whole bunch of sort of get out of jail moments where we're not going to have a conversation about replacing the candidate because there's a debate coming up, and then there's another one coming up, and then it'll be 2.
Yeah, and also don't forget this week, a major speech from Biden about unfair trade from China, or should I say China, and he's going to put tariffs on, etc. Very much, straight out of the Trump playbook. So I think what we're seeing here is a very worried, very frightened Joe Biden. I think you're right about maintaining his position after the convention, which will take place in August. Worried that somebody might, somebody in the party might try and get him replaced at that event. He's in trouble. But I've got a good tip Excuse me, sorry.
No.
I've got a very good tip. For your viewers, all right? Now look, I know we're not supposed to encourage gambling and you can't do it, but yesterday I checked with the bookmakers and Trump was evens. If you don't bet, fine. If you do bet, I tell you what, boys and girls, it's a great price. I'm on.
I love it. Fantastic. All right. Also, let's now talk about the other thing, which of course is the courtroom. Now, one of the reasons why I think it's also advantageous for Trump to say yes, I'm in, is because should we get to the result he doesn't want and a judge has got to work out sentencing, a little difficult to slot somebody when you know they've got a presidential debate coming up rather than just the presidential election in November. But still, Michael Cohen, the lawyer who has told many lies to many organisations, who even Maggie Haberman in the New York Times says has not proven the case that Trump directed or knew how the bookkeeping was working. He's under cross-examination. Again, it happens in a couple of hours.
Yeah, look, I mean, you know, as you say, it's not Michael Cohen lawyer, it's Michael Cohen liar, and everyone knows that. Everyone knows the guy's a liar. He's got a very bad reputation. He's not helping himself, and you know, the idea that Donald Trump, you know, did the books and looked at the minutiae. I mean, it's for the birds. Trump's a big picture guy. And as you say, the case hasn't been proven. There is just about zero chance, whatever the jury find, just about zero chance of a custodial sentence. It's not registering in Middle America in any way at all. You know, is Trump flawed on a personal level? Well, everyone knows he is, but they don't care. What they're looking for is strong leadership. That's why he's doing as well in the polls as he is. That's why he is going to win on November the 5th, whatever happens.
Sadly, I've only got a minute to talk about big news surrounding yourself and the Reform Party, but you may well end up just wiping out the Conservatives.
The Conservatives. Oh, I remember. That's right. We used to have. Yeah, I'm sorry. You completely nonplussed me there. Do you mean the high tax, big regulation, mass immigration people that masquerade in number 10 at the moment as Conservatives? That's obviously what you're referring to. No. They don't need my help to wipe themselves out. The absolute contempt which a huge number of the British public now view them after all the promises they made in 2019 on the back of a big Brexit vote that they have actively betrayed. With or without my help, they are doomed.
Good stuff. Thank you, mate. I do appreciate it. The great Nigel Farage, of course, joining us each and every week.